we go. What is going on, everybody? So after a few weeks off, had some stuff come up in life that threw us a few curveballs. Lost a couple weeks there over the holidays, but nonetheless, it is January 1st, 2024, and we're going to start the year off right by doing a little bit of wrenching on the wagon, picking up where we left off. And I'm excited to get into the new year the right way. However, I came out to a curveball again this morning that put a damper on how much I can do on this car today, because I found a puddle under the rear diff of the Silverado. I know, I'm gonna have to work on that one again. But what I'm gonna try and do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw a carb spacer into the wagon, and we're gonna take the wagon to go to the parts store to get the new pinion seal that's gonna be needed for the Silverado. Now, some of you might be like, man, you got to work on that truck again? Yep. The truck has got 275,000 miles on it and had very little work done on it. This is the original factory pinion seal, so the fact that it's leaking now, other than being really inconveniently timed, as usual, when breakdowns happen or stuff like that happens, it's always inconveniently timed. But other than that, I mean, the truck has been rock solid. But at 275,000 miles, you best believe that stuff's going to need to be addressed. So I got to weasel that one in today because I have to go back to work tomorrow, and I'm not too sure about trying to drive this one to work yet. It's about 40 miles one way where I work, so this car's only done like 14 and a half mile drive, and that was split between right in half because the place we went was only like 7 miles away, 7.5 miles away, something like that. And then we drove back that same distance. So jumping on the highway and going 40 miles one way is a little questionable at the moment. But the parts store is about 8 miles away, so we could set a new record today if we can get to the parts store and back without having an issue, and maybe solve an issue along the way. So what we're going to do, well, recap. The issue we were having is once the engine got good and warm and the car was all warmed up and started driving a little bit, the throttle was starting to stick. We'd press on the gas pedal and it wouldn't come back. And after messing with it for a good bit, I'm pretty sure I determined that the issue is not in the linkage. It's not in the physical carburetor itself. Without external factors, i.e. Heat. So what's happening is the carburetor, when the engine gets warm, the carburetor gets hot. You know, go figure. Everything in the engine bay gets hot, right? And basically the aluminum in the carburetor is swelling because that's what metals do when they get hot. They grow a little bit, and it's causing stuff to bind up. Now, I think that this is probably a fairly common problem with Chevy 2s because this is the second car I've had this issue with. I had this issue on that car when I had it up and going, and I fought with it for a while and couldn't figure out what the issue was, and it was a different intake manifold and a Holley 4-barrel, and it was doing the same thing. I think it's a design of the Chevy 2 in general. There's not enough airflow through the engine compartment, which results in trapped stagnant hot air up here at the top. This is my theory. I have not tested to prove this, but it's my theory now that I've had this problem on 2 cars. So that hot stagnant air results in a carburetor getting hotter than usual, which the secondary factors of a hot carburetor is vapor lock, or the carburetor, you're boiling the fuel and atomizing it before it gets sprayed into the intake manifold, which throws the metering out of whack and it runs like dog crap. Vapor lock actually happens down at the pump, where you get boil the fuel down there and get vapor in the pump, and then the pump stops picking up fuel and pumping it to the carburetor. But nonetheless, people typically refer to vapor lock. It's the same. They think of those as the same thing. Either way, it's a side effect of too much heat in the engine bay. A cowl hood on a Chevy 2 probably completely solves this problem, because it gives you venting at the back of the engine compartment at the top where heat can go out, so you get cool air in up to the front, pushes out through the heat out up through the top over the windshield, and probably fixes that problem. I don't have a cowl hood to put on this car, so we're not going to go that route. But what I did on the other car that helped fix that problem was I put a spacer in, this one in particular, which is a 4-hole phenolic spacer, and it's a little bit different than the spacer I got for this car. What it is, well, the reason most people think that the go-to material for a carb spacer is aluminum, and that aluminum will dissipate more heat and help keep things cool, which is true and untrue at the same time. So aluminum does transfer heat very well. It's why it's used on like the radiator fins and stuff like that, because it does a very good job of pulling heat out of other stuff, right? And releasing that heat to somewhere else, whether the air or something else touching the aluminum. So our aluminum intake manifold is pulling heat off the heads and off the valley of the block, and that heat has to go somewhere. So right now it goes from the aluminum intake manifold to the air around it and up into the carburetor. If I put an aluminum spacer under the carburetor, then the heat from the intake manifold transfers into the aluminum spacer, and then from the aluminum spacer into the aluminum carburetor, because aluminum transfers heat very well, especially to other objects that are in direct contact with it. So this actually won't necessarily solve the problem. It would delay the issue and it might mitigate the issue, but it's still going to transfer a good bit of heat into the carburetor. Whereas if you go with a phenolic type spacer, this is a combination of resin. This particular one is a combination of resin and like sheets of jean material, blue jeans, like this kind of material, that gets put into a press as a sheet and gets basically pressure cooked into a full sheet, and then gets cut out into these shapes, and they're real rigid, real durable, really resistant to moisture and chemicals, great pieces. And this one I'm not going to use on this car because it's a 4-hole for a Edelbrock style carburetor, 4 equally spaced, equal sized butterflies, and more ideal on a single plane intake because of being a 4-hole versus a dual plane like we have on this engine. So this one's not a good fit. However, I went out and got one that would be a good fit for it, which is an open spacer. This one's made by Edelbrock. It's a part number 8724, you can see it right there. It's also a 1/2 inch. That part number does include a set of carb studs that will be needed to do the install. Well, not necessarily needed, but they make it more convenient and easier to do the install because you don't have to find new hardware. It comes with it, as well as the new gaskets. This one, on the other hand, is not jean material. This is a little bit different approach. It is still a polyurethane resin, but it is combined with wood fiber, kind of like an MDF particle board type deal, except it's got significantly higher resin content, and it's all sealed up so that it won't absorb fuel or other moisture or swell or degrade the way if you did just a piece of plywood cut to this shape, which you can actually do. You can make your own spacer from a piece of plywood or MDF, marine grade. You probably should seal them. You want to use something that's real smooth. I've heard that birch something rather. I'll look it up, put it on the screen. There's a specific type of wood that you can get that actually works really well, and if you just spray a light coat of urethane coating on it after you cut it out, it's supposed to work really well, and you can do your own, make various combinations of thicknesses to achieve your end goal. However, I just went with a 1/2 inch one from Edelbrock. It was like $35 off of Amazon, golden, right? So you're gonna have a hard time doing it cheaper, buying material and putting your effort into it, and buying a polyurethane spray to spray it down with and so it's good and sealed. It's cheaper to get that Edelbrock, unless you're going to make a whole bunch of them and you get a sheet that you can make, 8 or 10 of them out of, you might see a return on investment a little bit better than doing the Edelbrock, if you need that many. Anyhow, that's the down and dirty. I'm gonna get some tools out. We'll get that carburetor pulled off there. Hopefully we can make the throttle linkage the way it is. Oh, and just so you can see that my throttle linkage and everything's cold right now, and it doesn't get stuck at all. Everything moves good and smooth, just like it should. So, like I said, I'm gonna get some tools out. We'll get the carburetor tore off, get the spacer thrown in, and hopefully the linkage for the throttle will still work right with a 1/2-inch spacer in there. I can get it adjusted so that it will work right and not catch or bind up, because that was a whole fiasco, which you'll have to watch a previous video for. So hopefully the way we got it set up, that 1/2-inch rise won't kill us. And then we'll go from there and do our test drive over to the parts store so we can get parts for the truck, and I can get on getting that fixed, because that's probably going to take me, I don't know, if all goes smooth, a couple hours to pull it apart, replace that seal. If things go sideways, maybe I'm carpooling to work tomorrow, or maybe we'll have to drive this because the truck will be stranded and have issues. Fingers crossed that that's not an issue. Not that I don't want to drive this, but I just really don't want my truck to be a bigger problem than it is. So yeah, hold on a second, we'll get going here in a minute. Okay, so this is all pretty simple. All we got to do is we're going to disconnect the throttle linkage here so that piece is out of the way, and pull the 4 nuts off that hold the carburetor down. We'll just lift it up off the studs, keeping everything else connected. Once it's up and off, we can swap these studs out for the ones that came with the spacer, and throw the spacer in with the new gaskets, button it back down, and find out if the throttle linkage fits. Unless I run into something bumpy, we'll just do this as a quick little time lapse, so that I don't think there's anything exciting. Well, hopefully. All right, enjoy. Hey, pretty woman, what are you doing?
Are you filming?
I am.
Oh.
You could come around over here on the other side and pop into the video.
No, I'm not pretty.
You are. You're always pretty.
No,
Yes, come pop into the video. Say Happy New Year to everybody.
I'm not 40.
Come on. Come on. Don't be shy.
Hi, everybody.
You didn't say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
All right, by the time you see this video, that's probably going to be about a week late. But you get the idea, right? Now, if you disagree with her statement about her saying she wasn't pretty, make a note down in the comments. Let her know that she's full of turd crap. Turd crap. What the hell is that? All right. Back to the time lapse. Okay, so what you get in this package from Edelbrock, again, that's the 8724 part number. It's a 1/2-inch wood-based phenolic resin spacer, and you get the spacer. It is, you can hear it's I don't know if you heard that here. You can tell that that's not a metal. You get 2 gaskets, so I'm going to use both the new gaskets. Right there will do for now. And then, like I said, included is fresh hardware, which is always nice to have because you know it's the right size. And I did see some knockoff brands available on Amazon. They weren't much cheaper, but the common complaint with those was that the hardware wasn't the right length and that it was too short. And that's because they had a carb stud this size versus a carb stud that size, which is a ½ inch, exactly a ½ inch longer. So that alone makes this job, you know, the few extra bucks for the actual Edelbrock version versus a knockoff, a win in my book, because finding the right length hardware is always frustrating. So let's continue on. Okay, throttle return springs are hooked up, carburetor's tightened down. Now we find out if our throttle linkage is going to work. Oh, looks like we need to adjust our length, not by too much. It looks like we could use a little bit more bend. Okay, so I'm going to pull the throttle linkage off. I'm going to put a little bit more bend in it, and then we'll go from there. I need to get a different tool because I don't have an Allen head out for that. Okay, so when we messed with the throttle linkage, getting it set up last time, I had to put a little bit of a bend in it so that it would clear my bracket back here. Now that we've raised the carburetor up a little bit, this is not quite enough of a bend. So I'm gonna go clamp this up in the vise. We'll bend it a little bit more. And then we'll go from there. I'm gonna see if I will try and do some crazy superimposed, you know, before and after. Let's see if I can hold this steady. Right, I'll use a ½ inch wrench right here. Yeah, like 45-degree angle. I'm gonna try and be scientific about it, but it probably doesn't matter. I'll try and superimpose the before and after right here. I don't know if that'll work, but whatever. Yeah, so let me put a little more bend in it. We have more bend. Let's see if I can do that same thing. ½ inch wrench right here. 45-degree angle. Yeah, it should be something like that. That should be fairly close, enough that you can at least see a comparison. Threw a little more bend in there. Hopefully that'll give us enough upkick, and then we need to loosen up the jam nuts on this so that I can adjust the length. That's not the right size. That is the right size. Ow, that was my finger. Okay. Jam nuts loose on that end. Okay, we have wide open throttle and we're back at full neutral. We got about an 1/8 inch clearance back at that end. That all looks pretty good. Let me secure that jam nut. Where's my wrench? There it is. Okay. Just like that, we installed our 1/2 inch carb spacer, and get the tools put away. We'll get this fired up and we'll head to the parts store so I can get that rear seal, that pinion seal for my pickup. And hopefully all goes well. We'll get you set up and we'll go for a ride. Okay, so we're getting ready to bounce off to the parts store. As you can see, I got my pretty woman come along, so hopefully it don't break down because I don't know who I'll call for a rescue. What? Oh, she was a little careless this morning making breakfast and burnt her hand a little bit, so everybody shame her. I need shame comments, make her feel bad. Car hasn't run in a couple weeks, so it might take a few cranks to get the fuel up and going, but yeah, let's see what happens. Maybe. There it is.
There it is.
Like I said, it had been a couple weeks. They had to get fuel pumped back up in the carburetor. Alright, so the cars, we gotta let it warm up a little bit because, you know, it's all Chevy. It's a little, camera's got a lot of shape. Rum. But yeah, we'll let the car warm up here for a minute and we'll buzz out the gravel roads. I'll either time lapse it or just cut to the other end. I'll probably cut to the other end. You've seen our gravel roads enough times. So, yeah, we'll we'll see you when we get back out on the highway. Alright, we're off the gravel roads. Things seem to be working as they should. The car's just about warmed up now. I lift off the gas pedal and it goes back to idle. That's good. Little tire rub. Got 14 volts. Looks like we're right around 70 psi of oil pressure. Water temperature just over 180, which is what would be expected from 180 thermostat. Should be right in that spot.
And windshield wipers have not gone off yet.
Well, I don't know. They aren't all the way down. So yeah, I didn't look at the wiring at all. We did have those few weird quirks last time. That was part of the plan for today before I found the issue with my truck that I got to work on. So, but we're driving. Gas pedal feels.
Is that sticking?
Yeah. Yeah. Gas pedal's working.
Good.
See if I can get my phone out. Slowing down that issue. You can pull up our speedometer. Since I don't have a speedo that's working or a tach in here yet. At least know that we're, you know, traveling at appropriate speeds for where we need to go. Top left. So one of the other things I have planned for this car is to change out the exhaust. I don't know how much of it comes through on the microphone as far as the droning, but at idle and part throttle or low speeds, it tends to drone really bad inside the passenger compartment, and that's just not ideal for any length of time of driving. When you get on the throttle and you get after it, the Flowmasters sound real good that are on here, but it's just any length of driving, it's just a little too loud still. I've got the exhaust run out. It's over the axle and it's got turnouts. It's not quite all the way out from underneath the car, but pretty close, and it's still just a little bit louder than where I'd like it to be. So I picked up a couple different muffler options. I was thinking about doing that today. Again, that also went by the wayside because of, well, what we're doing now. But, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. Gas pedal options. Need to adjust the kick down a little bit on the transmission. I think it needs a little more tension. But overall, it feels pretty good.
Good.
cool day today. Probably, what, 50 degrees? I think it's about 50 degrees out. So it by no means is it a good test for our cooling system effectiveness. We are staying, right on top of the thermostat temperature, so that's good as far as cold weather goes, because you don't want an engine to run too cold. It actually run less efficient if they're too cold. So sitting right on the thermostat is what you really do want to see.
It's 37 degrees.
37.
37.
37. 37.
37.
Okay, so my guess of 50 was a little bit off. It's a little bit colder than that.
Well, I saw your phone and it said you have your little app up here. It says 37. I was like, oh, let me just refresh it real fast, and it didn't want to refresh, so I got on my phone. It is 37 degrees out.
That's cold.
Yes, it is. That's why we're wearing our beanies.
So the next few minutes of this drive is pretty much going to be rather boring, because I got to putt down through town. So I won't make you go along for that boring ride. I'll catch up with you in a bit once we either something exciting happens or nothing exciting happens, which is exciting because then we can actually start enjoying the car a little bit. So yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute or a second or whatever long the transition is. Well, the good news is I got the part for the truck. The not so good news.
Cole broke the Nova.
The wagon does not want to start now.
What is? Oh, that's just dust.
Dust.
Okay. Ooh.
Seems something. So yeah, I'm fiddling with the key, but I can't seem to get any starter engagement at the moment. It's almost like the key
Well,
is
you got some type of a power source because things are coming on.
Yeah, but the key's not. It's just the starter's not going. There is the factory neutral safety switch, which they can't see what I'm doing anyway on the camera. But the factory neutral safety switch is still in the column, which hasn't been a problem until. There it is.
Oh my God!
It's the neutral safety switch in the column.
I can't go anywhere with him.
All right, we're good. So that was fun.
I got my seatbelt on myself too.
Why are they idling so high?
Make it home.
No, I can't drive it like this. The idle's way too high. You drop it in gear right now and push through the brakes, we'll go over that edge.
messing with the springs, and he adjusted them, and I think that's why it was at a higher throttle, because of the spring adjustment that he did. But he's under the hood right now adjusting the springs again, the throttle springs, so hopefully he can figure it out so we can make it home. We need to go places that we've never gone before.
Well, right now we're probably, if we drove straight home, we're probably just matching our longest drive with this car. Because I've been to that gas station. Oh, shit.
Damn, honey.
Oh my god, the gas pedal's gonna be a problem.
Shit.
Okay, this is extremely frustrating. And I'm not exactly sure what to do to fix this issue now. That carb spacer apparently has not solved our throttle sticking issue, and it's super sticky now. Once I parked it and some heat soaked into it, it's mainly sticking at idle, it was much easier to.
It's not shifting though. There it goes.
Yeah, we've got problems. So now it's not even going into second gear.
Yeah, it's not shifting.
It's not doing a whole lot of things that it should be doing. And there's someone putzing behind me. I think we may have broke something.
What do you think we broke?
I'm not sure yet. See if we can get into this parking lot and okay. Got reverse. Got drive. Low gear. And it's in gear. There's neutral. I mean, gas pedal is stuck. Alright, we got some troubleshooting to do. It is not happy. Not happy at all. Alright, well, we had a couple of nice fellow hot rodders stop and check on us to see if there was anything we needed, and, well, let it sit for a couple minutes, and our gas pedal's moving smooth as butter again. So, apparently we haven't fixed the issue that's resulting in the gas pedal binding really bad. I can't explain that one, so we're just going to try and limp it home, and once again, fail at extending our longest drive, which isn't very long. But our gas pedal's smooth again, so we'll see if we can't make up a little bit of ground, because I still got work to do. And hopefully it shifts through the gears properly, because I didn't see anything that would indicate that it shouldn't be shifting through the gears. Maybe that was just all combination of the gas pedal. No, we still don't got second gear. We got transmission issues now too. Again, well, we're about halfway home. Gas pedal got to the point where I couldn't move it anymore, and we still are having some serious transmission trouble. I don't know what it is. I don't know what may have broke it. It's not shifting. We've got first gear, and it kind of feels like we have second gear, kinda. And it definitely not going to third. It's almost like the TV cable's not working right, but I mean, I come in here and I mean, the plunger feels like it's there. It feels like it's doing what it's supposed to, but it's not doing what it's supposed to. It's just very unhappy, and I don't exactly know why. When we left the auto parts store, it stuck and then went, and I heard a little bit of a clunk, but I don't know what that was. It didn't sound like it was a transmission thing, but maybe it was. And clearly the spacer that I added is not solving our carburetor issue. The gas pedal's still getting super sticky to the point where I can't move it at all. And then as soon as I let it, we'll come in here, as soon as I let it cool down again, it goes just like it should. So we've been sitting here, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. It's about 30 degrees outside. It's cold, not warm. And the wife is over there hiding in the car. Yep. Because she doesn't want to be outside because it's cold. It's not necessarily warm in the car, but there's no moving air in the car, which helps. Anyway, we'll give it another minute or two, a couple minutes, and then we'll fire it up and see if we can make it a little further down the road. I've played with the throttle linkage a little bit, and it seems perfectly fine, like it's doing what it's supposed to. The kickdown cable feels like it's doing what it's supposed to. Everything seems like it should be right. There's no fluids gushed underneath. So yeah, I'm at a total loss right now. It looks like we're going to have some major work ahead of us. At this point, I think I'm done fighting with trying to make the drivetrain work as is the way I got this car, because the more I work on it, the worse the problems are getting every time we drive it, which tells me that, and it's not the stuff that I've actually worked on that's having problems. I mean, the engine itself now runs better than it ever has, and has probably created a transmission issue, which isn't ideal. But the cooling system seems to be working right again. So I don't think we have too much as far as engine itself stuff to work out. We got a carburetor issue to figure out. The fact that it sticks real bad when it gets hot, I have no clue what to do about that now that spacer didn't fix it. And that when it cools off, it's back to normal. So I'll probably have to reach out to the community. Hopefully maybe someone here on YouTube comes across this and knows of a good way to fix this, or we'll check out on some of the Facebook pages and stuff for these early cars and see if anybody else has found ways to fix it. But that's where we're at, stuck on the side of the road, just about halfway from home. I think we got about 4 miles to go, and we'll go ahead and we'll see if we can't get the rest of the way home. We'll put this away because, as I told you earlier, I still have a pinion seal I got to do on my truck tonight. And we're at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon now, I believe. Maybe like 3:30. Either way, late enough in the day that I've still got a bunch of work ahead of me. So we just need to get home, get it put away so that we can start again next weekend. Yep. All right, well, we sat at that last spot for a little while. We let the car cool off, to the point that the gas pedal was working good again. Fired it up, and unfortunately, we definitely have a transmission issue. We only have first gear, which I don't know enough about 700 R4, so I don't know what would cause everything other than first gear and reverse to quit. I don't know if something broke or something with the kickdown cable. Whatever. Don't know. It's a project for another day. We've made it about another 3 or 4 miles from where we were parked. We're running fine. We've got first gear. We're probably just putzing along at about 10 miles an hour, and we're about less than a mile from home, so we should be there shortly. But our gas pedal is getting super sticky again. Oh shit. There we go. That's a happy spot, I guess. Yeah, so whatever the case, again, as soon as it builds up any heat, the gas pedal sticks. I don't know what to do about that one. Don't know. I guess we'll have to dig into that carburetor a little bit. We are on gravel road, so I'm sorry about the little bit of excessive noise, probably some rattles and whatnot, but oh well. So anyway, we'll check back in once we get back to the house. It looks like we're going to be able to make it on this little jog. Like I said, we've got less than a mile until we get there. Putzing along with just first gear.